Today is May 28th, 2013. We are at the Effingham DAV Club in Effingham, Illinois. I am interviewing Joseph Pontious, and Mr. Pontious was born on 6/11/1969. My name is Cheryl Walker. I'm with the Illinois State Library, and I will be interviewing. Joe, can you tell us for the record what branch of service you served in?
U.S. Marine Corps.
And what was your highest rank?
I was a corporal, which is an E4.
Okay, and your service dates for September 21st, 1987 through September 21st, 1991.
Yep.
And you enlisted.
Yep.
Is that correct? Okay. Can you tell us a little bit about your service time?
Yeah. I mean, what do you want to know?
Where did
I had
you
a blast.
You had a blast.
Yes.
Okay.
I started out at boot camp in San Diego, California, and then come back home for leave for a little bit, and then I went to Adak, Alaska. I was in Adak, Alaska for a year, which Adak's closed now. It was a naval air base, and it was actually, it's in the Aleutian Island chain. I think Attu is the furthest out, but Adak, I mean, whenever you got there, you're closer to mainland Russia than you are to mainland Alaska. So there's a lot of P-3 Orions, which is a plane. It was what mostly flew out of there, which that was all the Navy. I was just there as a Marine, as a security, basically. But I mean, it was fun. It was a year there.
What was your, is the Marines, do they call it MOS or?
My MOS was an 0311. I was a grunt, 0311 infantry.
Okay. And is that where you took your advanced training, was in Alaska?
Oh, no, I forgot. Before I went to Alaska, I went to Camp Pendleton for School of Infantry training. I went to infantry training before I went to ADAC, but basically every Marine is trained as an infantry. I think all Marines go to that basically, but and then I went to ADAC and then went back once I got done with ADAC, and then I went to 29 Palms, and I got attached to my unit, my 3rd Battalion, 7th Marines, and then that's where I started my infantry basically once I got out of ADAC.
And after you got out of ADAC, where did you go?
29 Palms, California. They got the big Marine base there.
And how long were you there?
Well, actually till I got out. But the actual time I spent on 29 Palms soil was probably a year and a half, maybe, because we took off whenever we went on our deployment, whenever Desert Storm started. I think we were overseas almost a year, just short of a year.
Mm-hmm.
We took off on deployment, and after that we did a deployment to Bridgeport, California, which is just up the coast. I think we spent 2 weeks up there. That was Mountain Warfare Training Center, which is, it's kind of fun. And then we spent, I can't even remember. Oh, we went to Thailand, come back, and then Desert Storm all kicked up. Well, actually, it didn't kick up until we was on deployment. We was going to Okinawa and then the Philippines, and then Desert Storm kicked up, so we were already overseas, and we got deployed longer and longer. It kept kept getting deployed longer and longer. And then finally we went over there. It happened, and then it was done, and then we finally got to come home. Whenever I left, my wife was 6 months pregnant, 5 months pregnant. Whenever I got home, my son was 5 months old. So
Did you did your wife get to go with you every place other than over?
no. She was just stationed with me when I was in Twin Palms.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I guess I could have paid the money and brought her over there, but there was a lot of the times, I mean, there were just, in the Marine Corps, you just never know what's going to happen. I mean, I could have brought her over there to Okinawa for $1,000 or whatever. Well, which no, she couldn't even flown because she was pregnant. and and then even after my son was born, he was too young to fly. So it's just part of. I mean, you deal with it. You go on.
While you were in Alaska, was it summer up there? Was it winter?
I was there for a whole
It's
year.
a whole year.
Yeah, I seen all the seasons up there. Alaska is the best climate you'll ever. I mean, I've been in every climate basically. Uh, you know, be it tropics, be it the desert and Twin Palms, living here in the Midwest, I've been in every climate you could ever stick me in, but it was nice up there. I mean, you get whenever you get the summer, you get to basically 22 hours of light. Now in the winter, basically you might get 6 or 8 hours a day daylight. Now that'll wear on a person, but it's only for a little while. But that 22 hours of light through the summer, it's awesome. I love Alaska. I mean, I would definitely live there if I had a choice. I mean, if I could find a place up there, and I like it. And as far as weather goes, I mean, hell, you have bad weather here. I mean,
Did you get to enjoy the land up there in Alaska?
Oh yeah, we went hiking and we went camping and everything. Well, whatever. Yes, some of it I didn't. Well, the first time I went out, I think is when I got I got is when I got my toes frostbit. I mean, didn't lose anything. Didn't. I mean, they're still fine, but I can feel it now that I'm 43 years old. My feet get cold. I know what I did when I was 20. No, I was 20 years old, and that from then to now, I can feel it. But other than that, yeah, I mean, just being a Marine, you just basically just whenever you get up, they give you your orders and you go and you tackle it and you do it.
What made you decide you wanted to join the Marines?
My dad was a Marine.
Your dad was a Marine.
Yes.
Okay. And did you decide and tell him you were joining the Marines?
I kind of just figured it out in high school. No, I had no intentions of going to college or doing anything like that. I had none whatsoever because, I mean, once I finished high school, I just wanted to be done with school. I mean, now I think that, I mean, maybe a little bit more school would have been all right. I don't think I did a bad job in my life. I have a good job, and the Marine Corps helped me get that. So I don't know. It's just the choices you make. I mean, and like I said, Yeah, well, actually, Marine Corps. My dad was a Marine. And that's about what chose, pointed me there. And I have a son that's in the Marine Corps now, and that's
So,
that's what pointed him that way. Because there was no way he was going to go to college. I mean, he needed he needed something else to do. Just I mean, everybody preached. I mean, all your counselors like, why are you going to the military? The military is nothing. No, the military is something. The military is it's just 4 years you have to do, just like if you go to college. Only if you go to college, I guess you can drop out. In the military, no, you just can't drop out. You're stuck to this. It's a little bit of discipline, a little bit of this, and I I just feel that I know my ex-wife, she didn't like that my son went to the Marine Corps like I did, but that's where he needed to go. He was he was not going to go to college. Or well, okay, I could have paid for him to go to college, and it would have meant nothing to him. To where now he's he's actually earned something. You know, he had to earn it. You know,
I did not realize that in the Marines that everybody went to infantry training and that was their MOS.
well, it's not their MOS, but they all still go through infantry training. Well, I am. Well, I'll have to call my son on it to make sure it's still that way. But pretty much, whenever I was in, everybody went through infantry school. After you got done with boot camp, you went through infantry school.
Mhm.
And and then you went to your job, whether it be a clerk or anything. You still went through basic infantry training. You still went through that.
Did you get special training for your job then?
Oh, I was a grunt. There's no
So you
special
were,
training. Yes, yes. We had training every month. Other than being in shape and keeping in shape and stuff like that. You'd get training on your weapons, and there's only so much you can do when you're carrying the same weapon all the time. You can only show me so many times how to take this apart or whatever, anything else it'll do. This is 25 years ago. I had basic stuff back then. Now I'm sure they're a little bit more computerized and everything else, which I would have trouble with. But I was just basic. And other than your 5 mile runs every morning and just your PT, that was about it back then.
do you, I noticed on your paper here it says you were Task Force Grizzly and Task Force Ripper.
Yeah,
What were those?
that's Desert Storm.
That was Desert Storm.
Yeah,
Those were the battles or the campaigns that you were in?
well, actually, Task Force Grizzly is what it started out as, and then Task Force Ripper was what it ended up as. Whenever Desert Storm started,
Mm-hmm.
you basically my battalion, we led the assault into Kuwait.
Okay.
I was 3rd Battalion, 7th Marines, and we went in and we crossed the lines the day before the ground war started. The day before the ground war started, I was already over there, and we were set up flanking security. So the day before the ground war started, I was already in Kuwait. I walked, what was that, 37 miles, I think. I think we walked 37, 35, something like that, with full pack. And we got to the berm, and then we proceeded from there. And this was all walking. We didn't have trucks. We hiked, and then we went through that. That was the night before. We went through the minefields or whatever, and then we set up flanking security, and then that was Task Force Grizzly, and then Task Force Ripper come through and went to Kuwait and finished it. I was already there. I was already inside. But
So you were your
my
unit was the ones beforehand,
yeah.
and we didn't know about you people.
No.
You were there before and setting things up and getting things.
We were
going.
in there the day before, the night before.
Why do you think the Marines have such a bond?
I don't know. It's just the way we are.
Just the way. Okay. Okay, because there's such a bond with Marines, and it's such a strong bond. And I think I mean, units have bonds, but Marines have a bond, and it's a outstanding bond. Do you have any siblings that were also in the military?
No,
No.
not yet.
Okay.
My twins are only 15. But no, just the Marine Corps. It's just I don't know. It's just a bond.
When you joined the Marines, were you surprised at the social life and the food and the barracks?
There's no social life. It's just the barracks. Is the barracks. You just kind of, I don't know. Coming from here to there, I grew up here in FU. It's a little podunk town. I mean, you get to meet everybody. I mean, totally different people than you're used to. And as far as the food goes, I grew up in the old days where if mom put it on a table, guess what? You had to eat it. You didn't get well, I don't want that. I want hot dogs. And no, okay, this is what you have for supper. But no, I didn't. All the food was good. And then as far as the meeting the different people and the barracks life, I mean, I don't know. You just have to learn how to deal with it. I mean, it's just some people can, some people can't. I mean, that's all you got to put into it is, you got some people out there that can, socialize with everybody and not take everything so. I mean, you just can't take everything so generally. Whenever you go in there, you just got to take it a little bit at a time and keep going. You just can't. You can't let it, because it'll beat you down real quick if you take everything in. Oh my God, this is what I got to do. Oh my God, this is what I got to do. No, you just have to take it and let it process and go about it. But I liked every bit of it. I mean, and I'm just one person. I mean, every person is different. I mean, some people can take that, and some people can't. But, and I had a lot of my buddy I still talk to in Boston. Great guy. Still got a buddy in North Dakota I still talk to. Great guy. Kansas, Maydew. Oh, let's see. Where's all the rest of them? They're just scattered. But I mean, my buddy Colby was probably he's still in the Marine Corps. He's a sergeant major in the reserves, but probably one of the toughest guys you'll ever meet.
Do you guys have reunions?
Yes, we did. Let's see, it's been 6 years ago. I think we met out in Palm Springs. I think it was about 6 or 7. Or no, actually, it was in Vegas. Palm Springs. And I think next year we're gonna meet in Louisiana. We still keep. I mean, it's the internet, Facebook, and everything else. We still keep in touch. But yeah, we get together. That's the first time I've ever gotten together with them, but it was, like I said, 6 or 7 years ago anyway. I've got work, and I've got kids, they've got work, they've got kids, It's hard to get all that together, and I mean, I don't know. I joined the Legion probably 5 years ago, 7 years ago, maybe. And my mom had been on me for years because my dad, as soon as he got out, he was a VFW member. He was in Vietnam. And I still haven't joined the VFW. I haven't joined here yet, But I don't know. I just find that years ago, like I can remember growing up, my dad attended all the VFW meetings. And I think he was a VFW commander for a little bit, but he was. And I don't know. It's just that today versus 20 years ago, 30 years ago. I'm 43 versus 30 years ago. Today is a whole lot different than it was back then. My dad worked 5 days a week, 40 hours a week, Monday through Friday. I worked 6 days a week. Dad worked days. I go in at 8 and get off at 4:30 in the morning. And I don't know. It's just different. It's just a different era. Everything is just, I don't know. And I mean, whenever I grew up, I mean, we had you had all your summer ball and all that stuff, but nowadays everything is like so much faster, so much. You have to be here. You have to be here. You have to be here. Well, no. Back then it's like, no, I didn't have to be there. I don't have to be there. No, I mean, I just as myself growing up and getting older, I see that back then it was a little bit not slower. It's just slower, just easier paced. Now everybody's like faster. Yeah, got to do this. Got to do this. No, I don't.
How was it staying in touch with your family when you were over in Desert Storm? Was it difficult?
There wasn't a staying in touch. You got a letter every once in a while, and that was about it.
There was no cell phones.
There was no cell phone. There was no satellite tower. There was no cell phone. Oh yeah, no.
There was no email.
No email. No Skype. Nothing. No, I left, let's see, we left Okinawa. That was the last time I talked to her, because we had phones in Okinawa, of course. But, and then, let's see, we left Okinawa in January of that year. I think March. When did the Gulf War, or when did that Desert Storm end? March 10th, I believe. Was it?
That's somewhere right around there.
Okay. So we left mid-January until March 10th. I didn't, or it was somewhere right around there. And until then, I didn't get to talk to her. It was either a letter in the desert or something else. There was no, because whenever I landed in, let's see, we spent a night in barracks right where we landed. From there, we got in trucks. We went to Tent City. We spent, let's see, did we spend 3 or 4 nights there? probably 3 or 4 nights there in a tent city, and then we took off from there and we went to we got in trucks again and they took us out closer, and then we just dug a foxhole and slept in a foxhole, and then we get up and said, well, we're going to move forward. So we put our packs on, all our gear, and people won't believe it, but I had well over 100 pounds of gear. Put it on, keep walking, and then we'd get to a spot, throw it off, and we'd be there for maybe 3 or 4 or 5 days. I don't know the strategy or whatever. We dig a hole, sleep, and then hang out there for a while, and then we get up, put our packs on, keep walking. But yeah, I don't know. I had no problem. It was just different, just something different. You have to learn how to deal with it, and I did just fine. Yeah, I walked a ton of miles. I know that the night going to the berm, I think that was 32 miles we walked, and at least that I could give you more, but I was, whenever we hit the berm, I knew I was wore out. I was tired, and I've done countless 26-mile hikes. It's just what the Marine Corps is about. This is being in shape, but 26 miles is like nothing. I've done probably 4 of them in my time when I was in my 4 years. 26 miles was nothing, so 30 was a little bit more. But
when you say, your packs were, 100 pounds, and, people say, oh, there's no way. But there is a way. Can you explain what was in those packs?
Well, let's see. I had I always carried 4 canteens of water, which you're only issued 2. 2 is what you had to carry. I always carried 4. Okay, they're 16 pounds. They were always full. They're 16 pounds. You had your flak jacket, which is probably about 13 to 15 pounds. So there's 30 pounds.
And did you wear your flak jacket?
Every day.
Every day?
You had to.
Mm-hmm.
So there's 30 pounds.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then I had my ammo, which is probably 130 rounds, just weighing it probably about 9 pounds. Mm-hmm. So then we're up to 60 pounds, basically, give or take, and that's in the cartridges. Okay, and that's just that. Helmet's 3 pounds, 4 pounds.
And you had to wear that.
Yes, and then I had my grenade jacket. I had 16 grenades, just hand grenades. Mm-hmm. They're probably 2 pounds apiece. And then I had 8 M203 grenades, which go into my M203. By the time you start counting all this, I had 115, I think, 110 pounds, give or take. Just.
And what kind of weather was this?
Oh, it was a little warm. It wasn't. It wasn't scorching hot. No, we were there in March. It was. No, we didn't sweat to death. No, it's just It was probably 60s, 70s, about like it is right now.
But with all that equipment,
yeah,
it
yeah,
was hot.
Oh, yeah. You just did it. You carried it and went on. That's part of what you do. Mm-hmm. And then you had your other people that I don't know, your other people that weren't quite in shape. I was a fire team leader. I had 3 other guys. I had to rely. I had to make sure they were fine. So if I had to carry extra water for them or extra something, or if they were hurting or if they were falling out, I had to pick them up and carry their gear, whatever. I had to be the fire team leader. I couldn't drop out. I had to keep them going. Keep my spirits up and keep them going. And that's why I always carried 4 canteens of water, which a lot of us did because, water is the one thing you can't be without. And I always filled up I don't care if I had 3 full and I'd taken 2 drinks out of 1, I filled those 2 drinks. I always had 4 full. Every time we got to a water bowl, I had 4 full canteens of water, no matter what.
When you say water bowl, where would these be?
Sometimes where sometimes, like I said, that 4 canteens that got you through. 2 canteens wouldn't have been enough. But I started carrying 4 canteens, and that's what I always carried. And like I said, there was times that, it was a good thing I had them. But there was other times it was extra, but you get used to it. And, like I said, one thing you can't survive, you got to have water. So that's just what I put in my head. And there was times that some of my guys they only had 2 canteens. If they were out of water, hey, here you go, I got water. So it's just it's just what you go through. My like I said, my squad leader Colby, we went out on a patrol. That was in Twin Palms, but we went out on a patrol one night, and we didn't know where our water bowl was going to be, And like I said, I always had 4, and we had just a squad. There's 8 or 10 of us, and we were going out on patrol, and we weren't sure where our pickups were going to be and everything else. And he took a 5-gallon water bowl. We carried his gear, and he stuck it in his pack. And one of them 5-gallon cans you see, looks like a gas can, and he stuck it in his pack. And he carried that 5-gallon water can just so if something went wrong, we had water. And we carried his gear, we just divvied it out through everybody. And like I said, his sleeping bag basically, and some food basically, and stuff like that. And just divvied it out. It's just stuff you figure out whenever you're in the field. You take care of each other.
Interesting. Is there anything else you'd like to share?
Well, that's about it. No, that's neat talking to you.
Joe, I would like to, at this point, one more question. You're coming back from Desert Storm. How was the reception?
Oh, it was great. I probably got it on. Well, actually, my ex-wife does. We had a video. We come back, and we got to Twin Palms. There's people all over the roads, and I was like, "Get out of the roads! I want to get in." Like I said, my kid was 5 months old. I hadn't even seen him yet. And then we get back in, and it's the Marines. You just kind of have to go with it and get in there on our buses, and then we got to find our gear, get our rooms and everything else, or get, which I had base housing. But in the Marines, whether you got base housing or whatever, you don't get to leave. You have to stay until your whole platoon or whatever is released. Even though you live in town, whatever, you still have to stay there with your people. So I had to sit there. I got to go over and talk to her and see her, and then I was like, I gotta go back. I gotta get released from the platoon, and then we'll go on. But I got to see my son, and then get our gear. But yeah, our reception. Then we had a big reception in L.A. We had to go up there and do a big parade and everything else. And the one thing that I really regret was after we got back. Bob Hope had a thing in Palm Springs. he was wanting Marines to come out there to. I don't even remember what it was. It was some kind of special. It was on TV and everything else. But they were asking for Marines with kids, which I was like, yeah, I'll go. And then it's like, well, you got to ride the bus, which it's in the Marines. It's all in the Marine Corps. Everything has to be the Marine Corps way, or it's no way. You can't just drive on your own. You got to get on a bus, and you got to do this, that, and the other, and have the wife and kid, and they wanted actually wives and kids to be there with their Marine husbands. I was like, yeah, it would have been fun. I wish I would have done it, but she's like, it'll be kind of a pain in the ass because like Nathan was like 6 months old, 5 months old probably, and breastfeeding and just trying to keep things in order or whatever, because do you have kids? Okay. Whenever you have kids, you have to have a schedule, basically. Kids, that's, I don't know. I had my twins, I raised, well, with my new wife, my twins, basically, we couldn't have done it had we not kept them on a schedule because, you can't have one waking up and not the other. And because we had that a little bit, and it's like, no, it's kind of, twins are bad. No, it's just kids, but and we miss that, but life, it goes on. And then now, like I said, my son, he's in the Marines, and he's out there in San Diego, and he's loving it. He's getting ready to go to Yemen in December. He's been to Afghanistan once. He's been to Djibouti in Africa. He's been to Africa already once. He's been to Korea. He's got to see most of the world, and a lot of it not on good terms, but he's got to. I mean, and he was supposed to get out in December, but he's extending to go to Yemen to do another deployment. And like I said, I was gonna re-enlist and stay in, and I would have been retired right now, and I really not had to go to work tonight.
Well, Joe, I would like to thank you for your time. I'd really like to thank you for the time that you gave our country and the time that you served in Desert Storm.
Yeah, it was just a piece of cake war.
I would also like to thank you for the time you gave me and for sharing your story with me today.
It's fun. I can talk anytime. Any other time you get down here.